So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the emotion of anger. Now, anger is one of the big five negative emotions: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. Anger is also a stimulant emotion. So people who are angry have the capacity to hurt others, whether that be physically, verbally, or emotionally. When they're angry, they just want to lash out at other people. It's not a good emotion to hold on to. Now, when we hold on to these big five negative emotions, it can also create dis-ease within the body. And with anger, we have things like high blood pressure or heart attack. It's not good to hold on to that. And there are a lot of angry people out there in the world. So the people who I work with, they come to me with a problem. And it's my job to find the root cause of the problem. And that's the beauty of what I do in regard to timeline therapy. Because when we're looking at releasing a negative emotion, what we have to do first of all is we have to go back and we have to find the root cause. The very first time that anger happened, the very first time that you felt anger. And that is not something that you would know consciously. So a lot of people will have an event or multiple events that happen in their life where they've been angry. And little by little, they just store that anger. They store a little bit, then that little bit gets bigger, and then that little bit gets bigger. And then another event happens, and then they get angry. And holding on to that anger, what they do then is they bring it into their present life, they bring it into their present situation. And then maybe there's a trigger event that just takes them back to something that has happened in their past. And they blow up. They blow up into rage. And anger is also a dangerous emotion to hold on to. You know, I've worked with women that have been on the receiving end of their partner's anger. You know, beautiful women who have been in domestic violence relationships. And, you know, they came to me, they needed the help because their partner was not willing to seek the help that they needed. So it's really important that when you have these emotions and it's a constant trigger, event, lash out, it's important that you understand that maybe it's time to get some help. Now, going back to the timeline therapy, what we do is we go back and we find the root cause of the problem that you keep having. And it's not something that you would know consciously. And I'm not going to go into massive detail here. But what we do is we go back and we find the very first time that you felt angry. And then we release that. And then by releasing that, it releases the anger on every other event that you've ever felt angry on in your life. And for a lot of people, anger is probably one of the biggest emotions. And when we release that and we understand what we were supposed to learn from these events, then we can actually just let it go. Now, when we release anger in the timeline, okay, we release the anger from your past. So you can go back and think about an event, but there's no emotional attachment. You don't get angry about it anymore. But then when something similar happens in your future or after it's been released, guess what? You are able to respond accordingly rather than react like you used to. So here's the thing. You know, if you are that person and you're getting triggered left, right, and center all the time, and anger is building up and building up to the point where, you know, you think you could hurt someone, like I said, physically, mentally, verbally, it doesn't matter. You're still hurting someone, right? If you're that person, reach out. Reach out and let's have a discussion. Because I want you all to remember that there is always, always a solution.